All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome. The sun is out on this spring-ish day in New England. Still not very warm. We're still waiting for that, but it's coming. Excited to have you here. We'll get going because I know we're a bit past the time. So again, thank you for joining. My name is Janelle, and I oversee the Human Factors and Information Design program here at Bentley. I also went through the program. I graduated nearly 20 years ago and had a career at a few different companies before coming back to Bentley about 2 years ago to run the program. And I'm joined by my partner, Kyle Mondino.
Hello, everyone. So I'm Kyle. I work in graduate admissions. I will be one of your support members to help you through the application process and next journey should you wish to apply.
Awesome. And feel free to share a little bit about yourself in the chat if you're interested, maybe where you're dialing in from or calling in from. If you are currently working, where you might be working now, maybe even what interests you or brought you to this session in the first place would be helpful for us. I do see a couple familiar names and faces, so thanks for joining, but would love to get to know the others on the line. So in terms of what we're going to cover today, I'm just going to go back to my agenda. So I do want to talk a little bit about the grad school experience here at Bentley, and then we'll dive into the topic of our session today, which is designing for a better world and how we do that here at Bentley in the Master's in Human Factors and Information Design program. Kyle will share a little bit more about admission information towards the end of our time, and then I want to make sure that we leave some time for questions as well. Feel free if you are attending and you have a question that comes up in real time, you can chat it in, raise your hand. I know this is a smaller group, so happy to accommodate whatever questions that you might have in real time. If you want to save them towards the end, that's fine as well. Whatever you prefer, I can work with. So we have folks calling in from Boston, one from Maine, another person from New York. So all East Coasters. So welcome. I think we're all patiently awaiting the arrival of warmer days and the summertime. What did you say?
I said we got Singapore too.
Oh, Singapore. I didn't see that one. And Texas. So Texas is probably already warm. Okay, awesome. So the grad school experience here at Bentley in our Human Factors and Information Design program, I like to think about our offering in 3 pillars. So the first one is the time you spend in your classes. It is a grad program, so there are classes that you will take. Many of them are in the evening after working hours, so 5 to 7:20, 7:30 to 9:50. Those are our typical blocks. And in those classes, you will be, of course, learning from the people that you are taking courses from through lecture and other instruction, but you also will be involved in broader discussions and debates within your class. There are different breakout and group activities that we do within class times. And then, of course, we have guest speakers as well. So I don't want you to think about this program as sort of you show up and you just listen. It is certainly not that. It is very involved and it is an engaged group of students. You join synchronously. Some folks choose to come to the classroom, which I would definitely recommend, and then others can't because they're based in other parts of the United States and can't simply, fly a plane to Bentley campus every week. So they join remotely through Zoom, but we do have a connected classroom, and we are all very well versed in making it a cohesive experience for everyone, regardless of if you're in person or online. The other part of the class, it's not the class, the other part of the program is what I like to call experiential learning. So in nearly every class that you take, you will have a corporate sponsored project. I'll tell you a bit more about those. We also have research labs that are run by our research faculty members. So we have 4 labs on campus, and I again will tell you a little bit more about those. Internship opportunities are certainly available for those in the grad program. And then we have our UX Center, which is a consultancy that sits on the Bentley campus in Waltham, Mass. We take on real clients. And you can work as a research associate in the lab alongside our expert consultants. So I think I've heard somebody refer to it as sort of like the teaching hospital model, where you're learning things in the classroom and then applying them, the next day in your job in the lab or in the center. And then the last part of it, which I don't ever want to underscore, is the community that you're surrounded by. So yes, you will be learning from the people that you take classes from, but you also will be learning a lot from the people that are in the program with you. So lifelong connections and people that you will know for the rest of your life and career. We do have a very strong alum network as well. The program's been around for 25 years. So we have about 800 graduates. 500 of those are in a private LinkedIn group that you have access to when you join the program. And we have conversations there. People post job opportunities. We, share upcoming events that we could attend together. There's a lot of camaraderie built in that group. And then we do have our career support. We have a dedicated team here for our program that can help with not just placing you, but getting you to a place when you start the program to identify, okay, if this is my career goal, what are the things that I need to do throughout the course of this program to actually arrive at that goal? So great group there. We'll talk a little bit more about it. But, I just wanted to lay that foundation for you so you have a sense of all the pieces that work together. And today what I wanted to do was kind of walk you through each of these pieces, but with a lens around designing for a better world. So what do we mean by that? What is designing for a better world? At Bentley, our slogan at Bentley is where good business begins. And we like to think about something called the triple bottom line. So when you think about user experience, human factors, customer experience, a lot of the focus of that space is very much around people. So how do we design experiences that work well for the end users or the people that are engaging with this product or experience? That is absolutely a core component of our program. And you will learn in many of the classes about how people interact with the world around them, how they process information. All of these things are absolutely critical in order for you to be able to build great experiences. We also think about other components, not just about the people, right, that we're building for, but we also have to think about the business, right? I like to say, the profit, right? We're not here, we don't exist and live for free. And the businesses that we work for typically need to turn a profit. And so that is obviously a consideration that needs to be balanced with the human need and the business need, and sort of like, where do you find that intersection? And then the third component is planet, right? So we don't want to just be building businesses that are good for people that turn a short-term profit. We want to make sure that we're actually building things that have longer-term sustainability from an environmental perspective, from a like a people perspective, right? Like what's going to be good for us in 10, 20, 30 years from sustainability of not just the planet, but also lifestyle and mental health and all the things. And so you can imagine some pretty fruitful conversations come out of the intersection of these three. And that is, again, a big focus of and what we embrace here in the Human Factors program. If you're familiar with Don Norman, he recently published a book, The Design for a Better World. If you're not familiar with Don Norman, I would highly recommend that you read The Design of Everyday Things, which is what he is this is sort of like his initial claim to fame. But he has been in the space for decades. He was one of the first who really connected this idea of building experiences for people and how people think. And he recently published a book and hosted a design award summit in San Diego that Kylie and I both went to back in October. And it was around this idea of designing for a better world. So his principles in this book align to the United Nations sustainability goals. And he talks about the core elements of what it means to design for a better world. So looking at root core issues, focusing on the entire ecosystem and not just one point in it, looking at long-term view, a systems point of view, testing and refining over time, and then design with the community, the people that are using the product, the people that are invested in the product, the stakeholders internally. All of this is part of how we get to this place of designing for a better world and a better future. So actually we applied for the award and we were listed as a finalist in terms of the program and the students that we bring out into the market and the types of work and impact that they have continued to do. So in terms of that award and sort of how this connects to the broader offering at Bentley, there are 5 things that I wanted to touch on today. So the first one is our coursework and discussions. I had mentioned that triple bottom line, and I had mentioned that we talk a lot in different classes and have lots of debates. This was an interesting one that we recently sponsored, the screening of Eternal You. That was back in the fall that we did this. And so this was something, it's basically a documentary. If you haven't seen it, check it out. But it's this idea that you can take your loved one who may have deceased or passed away and create a chatbot out of it or a representation of that person. And so this idea that, oh, if I'm, missing a loved one who's passed away, I can take all previous interactions and other data that I might have at my disposal to build this virtual representation of this person to feel like I can continually be close to this person. And so there's a lot of interesting discussion within our classes and then also even outside of our classes around this idea, like, is this a good idea? Like, what are the ethical implications? What do we need to be thinking about? Just because we can build it doesn't mean we should build it. And so these are the types of things that will be that we think about and talk about all the time. This also reminds me of another project, but for purposes of time, I'm going to keep going because I could blather on for a long time. Other parts of your course experience are guest speakers. So this past year, just in the last year or so, at least in my classes, but I know in other classes as well, we had the woman who runs user experience at Year Up United join us and talk about a project that she worked on. So Year Up is a technical platform that connects people and individuals who don't necessarily have a good trajectory in terms of career outcomes and connects them with companies that are willing to give these people an employment opportunity. So it's actually a really awesome organization, but it's huge. It's enterprise level. It is very complex on the back end. And she came and talked about, how do we prioritize and think about user experience here at Year Up? She was awesome. We also had the co-founder of Fable join us most recently. And actually he came last year too. Kyle knows this founder. So he started an organization, they're based in Toronto with his now wife. And they have a piece of technology that allows companies to test their experiences with people who have disabilities, whether those are physical disabilities like motor impairment, or people who are blind or have poor vision, or people who are deaf. So he kind of touches on the accessibility component, but he's even dabbling now into this idea of how do we engage with people and build experiences for people who are neurodiverse, like people who have dyslexia or people who have ADHD. Like, what is it like for them to experience our product? And so that their technology empowers the creation of these experiences that are inclusive of everyone and not just, a small segment of people who we might be building products for most naturally. And then another example, More Than Words, they're actually a Boston-based, Waltham-based organization. They have a storefront, but they also employ children under the age of 18 who, again, are not on a great trajectory. and they give them job opportunities and things. So she comes and talked about their digital experience and how they had to combine multiple products and platforms together. And so note that when you're in the program, we would bring people in from the outside, but these people aren't just coming from the companies that might not have our best interests in mind. I won't name any companies, but we do hear from other companies that, you know, do have these values and missions that really align with a lot of what our students are thinking about. So that is a really fun part of the program itself as well. And then within most classes, you do have a corporate sponsored project. So these are real companies you work with, real problems that they need help with. We put you in small groups. Sometimes we have not just course projects, but pop-up projects. So pop-up projects sit outside of course projects, and they really are for anybody who wants to raise their hand to work on something to build a portfolio piece that might not align with, say, a course requirement. And those are offered, you know, probably somewhere between 5 and 7 times a year. I'll get an opportunity and share it with the broader student body. So some examples, we had, and we have been engaging with the Massachusetts Trial Court for years. Just this past fall, I had a group of students in my qualitative research class that went out to the Massachusetts trial courts in, and actually it was the, oh gosh, I'm gonna blank on the name. It was a family court. So this was in Worcester, Mass. They went and they intercepted and observed people who were going to their cases. They were going to their trials or hearings related to topics like child custody and divorce and like really important life events. And we were trying to understand, how can we help the court support these individuals more effectively so they have a better experience as they're navigating the court system. The court itself is encouraging litigants, and most litigants actually can't afford legal representation, so they have to represent themselves. And so, you know, understanding what that experience is like, and ultimately delivering back at the end of the semester, we met with the Chief Justice and talked about, here's what we observed, and here's what we would recommend to make the process better or easier. This is more of a, you know, service design, systems design thinking project, but certainly, again, one that we're just trying to build a better life experience for a lot of people in our communities. Here are some others that we've worked on in the past. So both AFREC and this Strong Girls United, these were pop-up projects. So these weren't aligned, well, for the purposes of this, you weren't aligned to a course. So for Strong Girls, they're actually a local organization that's focused on the mental health and well-being of females in sports. And they were going to be featured on the Today Show. And she had found out like 2 weeks before. She's a friend of mine. I went to high school with her. And she emailed me. She's like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be featured on the Today Show. I need to make sure that my website is in like tip-top shape. So if I get a bunch of traffic, that people know like what to do and how to engage and all the things. So I was like, sure, let's do it. So I sent it out to the students, and I had 5 or 6 volunteers raise their hand. We have access to user testing, which is a testing platform. They were able to get feedback in like a day and then deliver a set of recommendations for my friend, who then made adjustments to her website ahead of her spot on the Today Show. So that was really cool. So a great organization, but also a really like time sensitive thing that students could contribute to. We also have a group of students. We have 2 groups of students separately that have worked on the AFREC website. So the African Esophageal Cancer Consortium. They didn't actually have their own website. The organization exists, but it didn't have a digital presence. And so this team, the original team, stood up the website, which you see now is the top half of the homepage. And then the team that's working on it now is going through and making improvements and optimizing it. So another pop-up project that people volunteer for. These 2 over here are class projects, at least for me this semester. So Spellable, this is an app that's geared towards people who aren't great spellers, but want to improve on that. And so this is a way for them to learn how to spell the most commonly misspelled words so they don't continue to make those mistakes. So we're testing, what is it like to use this app? Do people know how to use it? Does it actually help them? Is it effective? All of those things. And then this one over here is another pop-up project. I just grabbed this screenshot last night. I didn't realize that they had changed their tagline to "Eat a crab, save an estuary," which I think is interesting. I wonder what visitors have to say about that. But they are a startup on the coast of Maine, southern Maine, that is trying to do something with the green invasive crabs that are eroding the Maine coastline. And so they're trying to get more grant funding. And so we have one team that's also looking at their website, testing it with target audience members, and then they'll be delivering their recommendations to the client at the end of the semester. So these are just some examples just from the last 6 months to a year, but these are the types of things that we're pulling in for our students to be able to engage with. We also have our research faculty and labs. So we do have 4 research labs on campus. 2 of them are run by John Erickson. So he has an immersive design lab and a virtual communications research lab. And then we also have Rahul Divakar, who is running our AI experiences lab. And then Munya, who runs our haptosphere. So let me tell you about some of the projects and work that they have going on. So John, I would say his 2 projects are here on the right-hand side. So in his virtual lab, he actually was testing people's perceptions of windmills and was exposing them to the concept of windmills in 2D form, like just pictures, watching videos, on YouTube or something like that, and then immersing them into an actual virtual environment where they could see and hear a windmill. And what he found was that people had more favorable perceptions about windmills when they were placed in virtual reality with them. People have these perceptions that they are loud, that they are very ugly, that they, all the things. And what he learned with the research is that actually you can have more positive perception from the public if you're exposing them in a more realistic or virtual environment. He also does a lot of work around health communications and patient health communications. So this is a screenshot of a study where he was testing the efficacy of the message that was delivered by this physician when he had a blank background and when he had more things in his background, which, seems like something that shouldn't be that big of a deal. But it was really interesting to see sort of what that did in terms of message delivery for study participants. So he's doing really, really interesting work all the time related to virtual and immersive experiences. Munya is one of the top haptics researchers in the world. She just published a book, I think in 2024. It might have been 2023. But she's operating with grants from the NIH and from other organizations like Google, for example. So this over here on the left is a piece of technology that she developed for soldiers who are in the field who would be given communication through this haptic device. So different vibrations communicating different things to give them more information about their situation and the context and their surroundings. This over here is a really cool one. This is a, I'm gonna not remember the technical name for it, but it is this device where if you are deaf, so if someone is deaf and blind, the only way to communicate with them is to actually do sign language inside of their hand. It's like, there's a term for it, but again, I'm gonna blank on it. But what she developed was actually more of a way for this to happen digitally. So if you are not in the same location as somebody who is deaf and blind and you want to communicate with them, you can do that through this piece of technology that she's developed. So really cool and pushing a lot of this technology forward. And then Rahul, this is a picture from one of his research studies where he was trying to understand how people learned new languages. So you know, right now people or traditionally have used flashcards or Duolingo or Rosetta Stone back in the day is what I remember. But what he did was he actually tested the efficacy of immersing people into an environment that is speaking the language that they are trying to learn. So they get to try it in real time. So they have to navigate a situation. In this case, it was a classroom. In other cases, he'll plot people like in the corner of like Tokyo, right? If you're trying to learn a language that is not your natural language. And so he's playing around with, you know, the how this impacts the learning process. So again, these are all labs that are up and functioning on campus. These are all research faculty members that often have grant funding that tend to engage with students if it aligns with their research interests and goals. So this is a great opportunity as well. And then we do have our user experience center on campus as well. So this is a consultancy that sits on the second floor of our Smith building. We hire a set of research associates each year to work alongside our experts in the lab. These are some of the logos of the companies that we've worked with. We do have, you know, a range of companies that we work with and do a fair amount of work in both the education and healthcare space, and specifically medical devices within healthcare. So we are constantly holding the principles of equitable and future forward designs at the forefront. My headphones just died, so hopefully you can still hear me. You can? Okay, great. All right. Other things to talk about, internships. So you do have opportunities to engage with internships here. We have fall internships, spring internships, and summer internships. We have options of 1 credit, 3 credit, placements across the US. You don't have to be in the Boston area. And of course, that helps you build these portfolio pieces. This is one of our students back in the fall of 2024. She did her time as an intern at Ariadne Labs. And she worked alongside another graduate student in the program. And if you're not familiar with Ariadne, they are a collaboration between Brigham and Women's, Mass Brigham and Women's, and they are trying to innovate within the current or existing healthcare system. So this is just a highlight of what she learned, as well as a picture of her in the office. I think she went in once a week or twice a week to work with the team. And they were looking at, she was on a team of researchers, clinicians, project managers, human-centered design specialists, and they were trying to understand how to improve the management of long-term health conditions. So certainly lots of opportunities there. One thing I want to highlight about the program is our community. So I mentioned you'll be learning a lot from your classmates. So let me tell you a little bit about the student body. I'll tell you about our alum network as well, and then we can wrap on career support before I hand it over to Kyle. So classmates, there are about 135 students in the program. A little less than half of them are full-time. About half of them are online. Others come to campus to attend classes. Some do a mix. We are a hybrid program, so we are designed to be convenient for a working professional and for people who are based across the United States. We do have people in the program who have a range of academic and work experiences. So you don't have to have a degree in human factors to be able to join the program. You don't have to have years of experience being a UX designer to be able to join the program. What you do need to have is strong academic performance at the undergraduate level, and in some cases the master's level if folks are joining with other master's degrees. And we look for about 7 years of work experience on average. And again, that doesn't have to be UX work experience. It really is just professional work experience. And the reason that we look for that is because many of the things you'll be working on, particularly the corporate sponsored projects, require you to have some level of how things operate in the real world and how you work on teams to help a business with a particular challenge or engagement. We share these stats just because it is the average or the common trends that we see. If you're looking at this slide and you're thinking, oh my gosh, I didn't get a 3.3 or higher, or oh no, I've only worked for 2 years in the real world, not 6.7 years, that is okay. Don't drop. Reach out to me and Kyle, talk like ultimately my goal is to make sure that people who come to the program are going to be successful in the program. So I need to understand your goals. And ideally, in addition to your goals, we're able to see in some way, shape, or form how you're meeting these general requirements or what we see as common trends. But it is a bit of a two-way street. I'm trying to understand what you need in order to achieve your career goals. And then you also have to show me that you are going to be successful in this program based on prior successes. And so let's have a conversation if you're feeling like, oh gosh, I don't meet these requirements. Students. So in addition to the students that are in your program, we also have student-led events. So we have an organization on campus called UXGA. They are the community of students that are within primarily our human factors program, but there are students from other programs too. We're actually hosting an event this weekend at Bentley called Prototype for a Planet. We have secured a corporate sponsor, and we're going to be working through on Saturday and Sunday a design challenge and then presenting to a panel, and there'll be winners and judges. And it's a really cool event that has been run and set up entirely by students. So I'm really impressed by this, and I'm excited for the weekend. We do have our alumni network. So I mentioned, 800 alums have gone through. Many of them, and most of them are willing to engage and give back to other alums and even students in the program. So this is a picture from our 25th anniversary party. So this was back in June of last year. We had almost 200 people come to campus to celebrate the 25th anniversary. So this is Bill Grubbins in the front. He's the founder of the program. And he is responsible for educating all these people in this photo. So it's pretty cool picture. But like I said, we have a mentorship program. We have opportunities to engage with alums through corporate sponsored projects. We have opportunities to connect with them on career advice. We even have an event all next week. We have, I think it's 10 different alums that are joining. They're hosting a Zoom session Monday through Friday for students to pop in and out of to ask questions about, and they're there as resources and supports. And that was set up by the Graduate Career Development Office. These are a couple other events that we've had in the past. So we do have portfolio planning and review events. We do have networking and career fair events. Many of them are virtual or have the option to be virtual because we are supporting students who are across the United States and not just in the Boston area. And then I'll end on this before I bump it over to Kyle. So what I love about this slide is that there's space for this everywhere in every industry. And in every age of company. I mean, you see here a range of businesses and organizations where we have alums that work to help really advocate for that triple bottom line, the designing for a better world. I mean, you definitely see your usual suspects, right? Like the Apples of the world and maybe Google to some extent. I mean, these are design-led digital-first companies, but it's really interesting to see, places like Mass General Brigham, definitely not a digital-first, definitely not a design-first company, but adopting a lot of these practices. And it doesn't happen overnight. This is a change. It's change management. It is advocating. It is showing up. But it is there's space. There's space for this everywhere. So I'll end there. And Kyle, if you want to jump through admission or application information.
Yeah, absolutely. So my stuff isn't as exciting as all the content that Janelle covered, but this is what will help you get through the application and kind of understand that flow. So we can go to the next slide. All right, so application requirements. We've really streamlined our application this intake. There's going to be a combination of required documents and optional documents. Hard required documents are resume, one letter of recommendation, one essay. If you're from a country whose native language isn't English, a potentially English language test requirement. We do require transcripts from all universities attended. And if you've completed your degree or aspects of your degree outside of the United States, we require a NACES member transcript evaluation. And then finally, an interview component. Typically it's between Janelle and I handle a lot of the interviews now. But basically a conversation with us, as Janelle indicated, so that we can get a better understanding of what your background is, what your goals for the program are, and ensure that you're going to be successful in working through the program. There's also an assortment of optional content. The optional content is a way for you to either strengthen your profile or to cover anything that you want to discuss that's not part of the standard application requirements. So optional content includes a statement of purpose or a supplemental essay. GMAT or GRE is optional. Second letter of recommendation are optional. And again, these are just all really great ways that you can either address a issue in your profile, or if you're just looking to make your profile more competitive. Again, Janelle and I are available to have a conversation around that if you have any questions. So don't hesitate to reach out. Okay, so financing your education. I know funding your education is a really important topic. No one wants to come out of school massively in debt. And so the great thing about Bentley's HFID program, it is a highly specialized program. So there's no like bulk added to it. It's a 10-course program, which in the US, that's traditionally the minimum number of courses you have to complete as part of a graduate program. We charge tuition at a per course rate, so there's no in-state, out-of-state tuition. The current 2025-2026 tuition rate is $6,095 per course. And so at 10 courses, that's your total tuition, not including scholarship. We do also offer merit aid scholarship. So during the application process, you'll be asked, would you like to be considered for merit aid? Just say yes. Your award is based on your overall competitive profile as compared to other candidates in the pool. So it is a range. It ranges anywhere between 0% upwards of maybe 40% or maybe a little bit higher, again, depending on your profile. It is awarded as a per course discount. So every time you register for a course, that tuition scholarship gets subtracted from it. We are grateful that we're able to offer most of our candidates some form of scholarship to help reduce your overall costs. Additionally, I think one of the great things about our program is for career outcomes. This program has the highest average salary for graduates coming out of it. And so the ability to kind of have a high ROI and make sure that your investment is coming back to you is really great for this program. I can't remember what we just recently got data on career outcomes. I think it's in like, was it 160? I don't know if you remember, Janelle, what the average salary was.
It was definitely in the mid six-figure range. I can't remember the exact amount.
At any rate, my point being is that there's lots of opportunity to fund your education, but there's also a really great ROI for what you're getting out of the program. So upcoming deadlines. We are well underway into our fall 2025 application cycle. We are in the rolling deadline stage. And so we have 3 pretty firm deadlines coming up that you just want to take note of if you're looking to begin the program in the fall. So for international students who are seeking a new F1 visa, the deadline is June 1st. And when we say deadline, that means all of the required documents that are part of the application process have to be submitted and received by that deadline if you want to be considered. It's also additionally important to make sure that you're paying attention to visa wait times in your home country. Some countries can have visa wait times that exceed 100 days or more. which means that the longer you wait to apply and get your application in, the less likely you are to be able to secure a visa and actually arrive in the United States. And so, if you're looking at starting the fall, you can search up online what the visa wait times in your home country are. Just make sure you're being cognizant of deadlines and you're setting realistic expectations about being able to get here. We really encourage you to try to have your application in by the end of this month at the latest, which will give you the most amount of time for completing all of those requirements. For domestic candidates or those who are currently in the US on an F1 visa already that are looking to transfer it, we can actually accept your application up until August 1st. We also don't encourage waiting that long for a few different reasons. One, we can reach capacity for this program. We did reach capacity for our spring intake. And so if you're genuinely interested in starting this in the fall, apply as early as you can. Again, aiming for the end of April probably is not a bad idea at the latest. But you're welcome to reach out and we can always touch base where we're at. Additionally, earlier in the cycle, we tend to have more scholarship funds available. And so if scholarship is something that's really important to your decision, making sure you get that in allows you to have better scholarship consideration. And then we also do offer non-degree. Traditionally for this program, we don't tend to admit a lot of candidates as a non-degree candidate for the courses. Because it's specialized, we want to make sure we have the courses available for students. But for a candidate who might be a little unsure or just looking to dip a toe, we're welcome to have that conversation. We also offer a UX certificate program, which can be a nice way to kind of round out your experience. Through the UX certificate program, you can get some credit to put towards the program. But if you're ready to take that dive, the HFID program is accepting applications for 2025, and we're good to go there. And so now we want to open it up for Q&A. I did see that we had a message come in. We have a candidate from India who's curious that if they have a master's degree in industrial design, can they join the program? So first of all, industrial design background is a great background that we see for this program. It's not uncommon that we have candidates who come from industrial design. Ultimately, and I think Janelle touched on this a little bit, we accept candidates from a wide range of backgrounds. Like there's not a checklist saying that if you don't have this background, you can't be admitted to the program. We've admitted anyone from theater to engineering to architecture. Really, as Janelle said, we're just making sure that can you be successful in this program for the types of work that you'll have to complete, and does this program help you get the career that you're looking to have or develop the skills that you're looking to have? And so that's really our focus. In terms of credentialing and whether you qualify for the application process, you just have to have at least an equivalent US bachelor's degree. And so credentialing around the world can vary quite a bit. It's part of the reason why we have that NACES member course-by-course transcript evaluation. It helps to normalize the review process, ensure we're being fair and equitable in admissions decisions. As part of that review, as long as it says you have obtained at least an equivalent US bachelor's degree, you're good to go.
Daphne has a question about active study visa.
Active study visa.
For online learners, is it still a requirement to get an active study visa?
No. So if you're looking to study from abroad and you're not looking to get any of the F1 visa benefits, if you're not looking to ever apply for an F1 visa, you can absolutely study online and you don't have to go through the visa process. The key thing to keep in mind, depending on where you're located, is that our courses are hybrid, meaning they have a synchronous meeting time. That time is typically Monday through Thursday, either from 5 to 7:20 or 7:30 to 9:50 Eastern time. And so if you're in a country that has a very, very different time zone than us, you just want to make sure that you're able to successfully attend those time zones. As somebody who travels as part of my role, having taken classes in India, actually I've taken Janelle's class while in India, it can be a challenge having to get up at 4 in the morning and meet the academic requirements. And so it is possible, but you always want to make sure that, again, it's aligned with your expectations, your goals, I will say most of our international students tend to want to study in person because one, they want to come get that experience in the classroom in the US, and they often are looking for the F1 benefits, which allow them to work in the US for a period of time. So it just really depends on your situation. We're happy to have those conversations if it's something you want to explore more. You're welcome. Any other, oh, let's see. So a question related to the GRE, really good question. So yes, the GRE, GMAT, they're both optional. You do not need to submit it to be admitted to the program. They can make your profile more competitive. I would say that, looking at any institute, university, often are looking at academics and professional work experience. I would say that professional work experience probably is a little bit of a heavier focus for this program because of the experiential learning. But ultimately, we do want to make sure you can be successful academically as well. And so what we generally say is if you have a weak academic performance, a strong GMAT, a strong GRE can help offset that. If you're looking to just enhance your profile so you're more competitive, again, a strong GMAT, a strong GRE can enhance that, but it is absolutely not required to be admitted to the program, especially if you performed well academically, if you have solid work experience. And when I say strong for the GRE, that's probably about a 315 or higher. And for the GMAT, we're probably looking at with the new Focus Edition, like a 560, 570 or higher would be the target scores, but again, they're not required. Any other questions about the program, outcomes, application process? Is the PTE test score accepted? I don't believe that's a test that we currently accept. I mean, we'll look at it. We look at anything that people submit to us. We've gotten a variety of different types of certifications, licenses, and we'll take a look at it, but it's not one of our standard requirements. And so we might have to investigate a little bit if you decide to include it. Yeah. Oh, and feel free to scan any of those QR codes with your phone. It has quick links to either register for consultations, meet us on our Instagram page, LinkedIn. You're also just welcome to email us directly. Janelle has a slide that she'll share in a moment that has both of our contact information.
A couple more questions, Kyle. One is, are you able to take more than 3 courses per semester?
Yeah, you can take up to 4. It is not, we don't generally recommend it. And to be honest, our current students don't typically recommend it when they talk to prospective students. And there's a few different reasons for that, right? One is it comes down to what type of experience are you looking to have, right? Are you looking to really engross yourself in the learning content? Are you looking to network? Are you looking to take advantage of the on-campus events and everything that goes on? It becomes less possible if you're taking more and more courses, especially with project work, because there's a lot of learning that takes place outside of the classroom. I'm 9 courses into the program. When you're working on a client-sponsored project, there's group meetings that you have to have. There's working on deliverables and iterating, and when you're taking more classes, just compound that. Especially combined with if you're planning on working at all as well. I work full time. It can be a lot. So a lot of our students, we usually say, start off with 3 courses. If you're looking to do full time, get that experience, gauge yourself. If you feel comfortable and confident and you're able to do everything you want to do, you can add on. You can also pick up courses over the summer. We offer intensive courses. There's a professor in the program, Nina, who's been teaching in the program for some time. She typically offers an executive format which are great ways to kind of accelerate on the number of courses you've completed, and also kind of digest content in a different format. Janelle and I were just in San Francisco to host a event, but also the kickoff because Mina was teaching a course in San Francisco. So that was a fun experience.
And then I'd be curious what your thoughts are on this, Kyle, but I can speak to Eric's question, which is around, for someone without much professional design experience, would it be recommended to attend the program full time? It's a really good question. I don't know if I've gotten that one yet as program director. So here's what I would recommend. I think if you don't have much professional design experience, you want to be able to soak up as much project work and real world exposure as you can through the program itself. And the reason why I say that is because you'll be able to pull a portfolio together over the course of your time in the program. So when you get to the other side of it, or even towards the end of your time in the program, maybe once you've done 6, 7 classes, you can start applying and interviewing for roles. Now, if that is, and I'm assuming that that's your goal, and if you don't have much professional experience and you want to join a program, I'm assuming you want to make a career shift or move into that space. So if that is the case, then I would not recommend going full time. I would probably recommend taking 1 or 2 classes a semester, but also engaging in pop-up projects, looking for internship opportunities, and really immersing yourself in the opportunities within your courses to do the corporate sponsored projects. Essentially what you want to do is build a really strong narrative for you to position yourself as an expert. Again, as you get halfway through and towards the end of the program. That would be my recommendation. Kyle, what do you think? Anything to add?
Yeah, I think you covered it. I think the big thing to understand, like from graduate school to undergraduate school, is there's a lot more flexibility, and there's not necessarily one shoe fits all or one prescribed outcome. Like, if you're working full time right now, and whether it's motivated by financials or work-life balance or whatever it might be, and you're like, you know what, I don't want to take 3 courses. You don't have to. Even if you take the absolute bare minimum, which is 1 class in the fall, 1 class in the spring, you still meet the requirement of completing the program in 5 years. Now, the average, I think, for full-time working individuals is about 2 to 3 years to complete the program. But you can ramp up or cut back. And so, I would say that we probably see people who maybe less experienced start the program full time. And if you get a really great job opportunity or an internship, and you're like, I really want to pursue this, just cut down to part-time. There's no hoops you have to jump through. There's no, tie to your scholarship. It's not tied to enrollment status. Your scholarship's only tied to academic performance. And so you can start off with 3 courses or 4, and then as you go through the program, like Janelle mentioned, if you get a job opportunity, you can cut down to 1 or 2 courses until you complete the program. And so I think the big thing, to echo Janelle again, is building out your portfolio and aligning yourself with the career objectives you have is probably the most important thing to focus on as you're going through the program. Great questions, by the way, everyone.
Definitely. All right, well, there aren't any others.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you a couple minutes back in the day. Reach out to us if you have any questions. You have my email there, Kyle's email as well. Great to connect with you all, and we'll be in touch.
Yeah, looking forward to working with you all, and stay in contact.